Good evening, everyone. I'll call the Brandon Select Board to order. It's 7:01 p.m. Thank you all for attending, whether by Zoom or in person here tonight. Is there a motion from the board regarding the agenda that was posted?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wyman. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Giles. Any changes to be made to the agenda? I have one. I'd like to add at 6A an additional executive session regarding the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee per 1 V.S.A. 313-3A3 for the board.
Tim, you want to click Keith in?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Any others?
Sorry, I just caught it in my.
Okay, if not, all in favor of adopting the agenda as we've just amended it by adding one additional executive session, say aye. Aye, that's unanimous. What's the pleasure of the board regarding the minutes of the special meeting and the regular meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting on June 27th, 22.
Okay,
I'll second that.
motion and a second. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of the June 27th meeting? None heard. All in favor of adopting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. How about the minutes of the special meeting of July 5th?
Make a motion to approve that one.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any errors or omissions in the minutes of the special meeting of July 5th that was to set the tax rate? All in favor of approving those minutes as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Any
Aye.
abstentions? Just abstain.
Abstain, not to me.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't, excuse me.
no problem. Okay. I'm just taking some minutes here because, I'm taking briefest minutes because Charlene's not with us tonight. I did neglect, I should say, to thank our town treasurer, Sue Gage, for her work on the calculation of the tax rate. I neglected to appreciate her work when I posted the meeting and so forth, and that was my fault. She does a lot of work. It's a complex enterprise, and she does a great job on it, and so the board appreciates the work. So that's just for the record. All right, how about number 3, the town manager's report? Mr. Atherton.
Sure, so my report for this evening, we closed on the 389 Newton Road FEMA buyout property on the 23rd of June. An RFP was posted on July 5th for demolition and site work. The pre-bid will be held on site on July 19th, and the bidding deadline is 2 p.m. on July 28th. Had a kickoff meeting on June 23rd with Steve at the Rutland Regional Planning to start our culvert inventory. This is the updated inventory. This updated inventory will assist us in applying for our grants and aid program, which has given us roughly $20,000 in funding annually for culvert ditch work throughout town. Met with Watershed Consulting, New England Woodcraft, and the Regional Planning Commission, and Nancy McGuire at NRCS to discuss the next steps in installing the stormwater filtration chambers at New England Woodcraft. We've been working with New England Woodcraft for a couple of years to assist them in complying with the 3-acre impervious surface rules, and we did receive a DEC grant for $354,000 for this project, so that's moving forward. They're the only private site in Brandon that fell into this 3 acres, so it's been good that we're, the state's helping them out on this a lot. So, the Park Street interpretive sign has been installed on the east end of Central Park. This was a requirement by State Historic Preservation for our project, and we will now be able to close it out. So if you happen to be walking around the park, take a look at it. You'll learn a lot.
It looks very cool. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
it came out really good. It's nice. As you guys have seen, DPW's been line striping crosswalks, stop bars, other pavement markings. They have more paint now, so the back order actually showed up. And we've actually been doing a couple other things. As you see, we've been striping the crosswalks that used to have the brick in them because they're not visible. The paint just goes, and actually V.Trans suggests that we do it the way we've painted it now. And we also, through the years, we've had some folks concerned about traffic coming out of the Cafe Provence area parking lot. So Sean and I looked at it a couple weeks ago, and they painted a stop bar right where the building is before the sidewalk. The stop letters have been painted before that, and then there's another stop bar down before you turn onto 7 on Center Street. So we're toying with the idea of trying to get a stop sign somewhere there, maybe in the brick banding or something, so folks really see it, because it's a little dangerous through there, so, but
It's tough getting there.
hopefully people start to notice that.
Was there contemplation at some point of a no left turn out of that parking lot?
Not there,
Not there.
no, that one up on, coming out of Lot A, which,
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah. I
useless.
thought Helen Anderson had asked us about
I don't remember
No,
that
okay.
one.
She was just maybe looking for the more visible
Yeah,
stop.
well, they talked about like a mirror,
Yeah.
and nobody really likes that whole mirror idea anymore, that it's really not effective, so
Okay.
we'll just keep messing around with it and see, hopefully cars will pay attention to the markings. So this is kind of neat. Brandon's own visual artist, graffiti scholar, and educator, Will Casso, has been selected as the first recipient of the Vermont Prize, a new annual award which celebrates and supports the visual arts. Mr. Casso, their family lives up on North Street. So that's pretty cool. I know the reporter had a good article in it, I think last week too. And the Newton Road Pump Station replacement is moving forward. It looks like we will be completing the project this year, and it looks like right now it's gonna be under $250,000. So it's gonna save us some money on this, which is really nice.
That's huge.
And I'll try to hit rec quick here. Successful week in Brandon. We had the Brandon Independence Celebration Committee. It was Susan Stone, Bobby Torrenson, Lauren Fish, Debbie Boyce, and Jean Lamar. And the many volunteers and organizations that stepped up to make our community shine. Huge shouts out to Brandon Fire Department, Brandon Police Department for logistical support all day long. Many volunteers' hands made for lighter work. Recruiting for job-specific duties has already begun for the 23 celebration. Stay tuned for the announcement of volunteer opportunities to make sure this tradition continues. We had the inaugural Davenport Electric Festival on Saturday. Was a success. That performed doing double duty as a showcase of emerging electric motor technology and the celebration of the inventor Thomas Davenport. The donation of David Hammond's Davenport model to the town was graciously accepted by our chair, Mr. Hopkins. And the town will make a long-term loan of the model to the Brandon Museum, who's exhibiting it around Brandon's most important resident. That's a lot of words. The Brandon Carnival is just around the corner, July 28th to 31st. We will see the return of Miller Amusements to the grounds of Estabrook Park, kicking off the 22 fair season here in central Vermont. We're going to have wrestling, music, trivia, and a community dance will be featured under the RRMC activity tent. Always free entry and parking, and this is year number 5, and Bill says it will be even better than the rest. And Brandon Rec is partnering with Otter Valley School District to offer summer enrichment programs at Neshobe School in Otter Valley. Partnership with SOAR program. We'll have counselors working with youth from 7:30 to 11. Middle and high school summer leadership and community gardens program will be led by teacher Devin Karpak and Allison Callahan. And then Bill says we have something brewing around a homecoming heroes activity at Brandon Central Park in September. So, been a busy summer so far.
Excellent. That heroes activity, actually, someone just today, Fred Putnam and Sean Coe, emailed to make a similar suggestion. They weren't aware that the board had heard from Lynn Desmarais about the idea, and they think it's just great. And that Bill has already kind of, if he hasn't talked with them, he informed me that this was, kind of going to be the occasion for him. So that's great. We do have a lot of volunteers. I think this last couple of weeks was especially volunteer wonderful in terms of the Independence Day weekend, the chamber auction, actually for the whole week before that, and the Davenport Fest. There was a lot of people willing to step up and do a lot of work. And those are the kinds of events that make a town vibrant, and they show the best of us. So, thank you for the report. Any questions for the town manager from the board? Mr. Kyle?
A couple of easy ones. Looping into this Davenport Festival and the success we had, we just hit the end of our fiscal year, June 30th, and so I'm starting to put together the Green Fleet data for this year. And I've gotten a lot of information together, but I'm just waiting for the last little bit, and I wondered if you might know when I'll be getting that last.
Well, Sue and Jackie are still closing out the year. It's been a little crazy, so I'm sure when they finally get the rest of that done, they'll send it along your way. So
Okay.
it's for them, it's super crazy right now with, you know, tax bills going out and then year end and year starting, and it's kind of hectic, so they haven't forgot about it.
Okay, thank you. And then the other one, which is similar vein, I'm just following up on the conversation from the minutes from last time. It says that I requested that we find out if the parking fee could be begun after the vehicle is charged. Did you find anything out about that?
So, not specifically that, but I did do a little research on what our charges were versus our expenses. It's been kind of hard to figure out because we started, you know, four days left of May, and it's, you know, we really only had one full month. So, got in and just, you know, figuring out, you know, what we did for like the month of June with revenue, which was it was $162.97.
Nice.
Our electric bill is $146.21 for the chargers. And then the lights separate, that's $35. So, you know, we're making a little money on the chargers, but if we throw the lights in right now, we're, you know, I mean, lights are the lights, they gotta have them anyway, but that's where we're at. So we're above breaking even, but not by a lot.
Yeah, all of this is really not so much about the money as much as I'm curious to know more about just how these chargers, you know, what kind of adjustments there are on them. And I know that, you know, as our town manager, it's up to you to, you know, make those decisions, but I'm still interested in learning the information about
So
kind of.
we can change the fees. I mean, it was our decision, and like I think I told you before, like Jackie and I looked around other areas to see what they were charging, and you know, and the charge point kind of had this set fee, and it would just seem to make the most sense to utilize that. So,
And is there an option where you can say, start charging after the vehicle is complete?
oh, I don't know. I mean,
I think that's what I'm curious about, and it's a little piece of information. If you had it and you had it available, it'd be something I'd be curious to know. Is there any way you could get that from me for next time?
probably could,
Yeah, thanks. Because I think in the end, it's not going to be a big amount of money either way.
yeah. Right. I
It's-
mean, I just hate to see us lose money on it too. I mean, that's my concern, obviously, you know, like, if it's costing us more for people to charge their cars than it is, you know, if we're paying out more than we're bringing in, that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think there's some, I mean, kind of like the Davenport Festival, one of the things about those electric chargers is it shows we're friendly to electric cars. And that in itself is worth something to the town, just to say we have a charger, you know, welcome to our town. And so it has value beyond just being a neutral thing.
I think passing through at cost is
Oh, it's ideal.
pretty good,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Actually, I don't.
You wanna,
I'd like to boost the rate up because we own it, and if we're gonna have to do any repairs, it's gonna cost us more money, and we're gonna go in the hole.
Well, I'd be curious to see what kind of repairs have been experienced with these kinds of things, because my understanding is that they're relatively maintenance-free. I mean, so, I mean, and maybe there's more information on that as well. I mean, it would be interesting to, you know, find out.
Well, I think we don't know how long yet because they're new.
Yeah.
You know, replacement cost has to be there at some point, and those, you know, those heads were $15,000 a piece. I mean, it was all grant funded, but, you know, the replacement is, I'm sure it's gonna be more than that now if we, maintenance wise, I mean, most of it, honestly, a few of the issues we've had have not, it's been people not really sure how to use them, and then charge points helped them along the way, so,
Right.
but,
It would be nice to know what the life expectancy would be, is,
yeah.
Yeah.
and then you can
Figure
adjust
out
from
the
there.
cost. Yeah.
I don't feel you should be able to charge the same price here as you do at home. This is a convenience, and we should make a little bit of money on it.
Personally, for me, I mean, I think that where it is right now is cutting it close, you know? That, you know, it's less than 20, we made like 16, we profited $16, and that's it, so,
So in 1,000 months, you've got enough to replace them.
pretty much. But you know, like looking at, so this is like just the history that I printed out that I was using. You know, there's about 3 users a day right now, which I think is pretty good for Brandon. There's usually, it's pretty consistent that there's 3 people charging there a day right now. So obviously, you know, there's more traffic, there's more people charging, like there were some days that were higher. Like I see like July 6th, I've got the July numbers here, like July 2nd, 1, 2, 3. There were 6 people, July 6th there were 4.
And as electric car usage increases, maybe we'll see that number go up.
So is that something that gets generated by the equipment or by the software?
So
that
we
you
have,
use
there's
to run the
an
equipment?
app for that. So I can go on anytime and look at, like,
Great.
there's like a whole sort of dashboard for all things
That's great.
on ChargePoint, so we can look at it daily. My suggestion would be that I just feel like we're too young with this still to figure out what it's costing us. And maybe we give it a year and see where it is, and then look at if the parking fee is an issue then, like, you know, maybe we discuss it then, but I'd hate to see us go into the, you know, into the red already with,
I like the idea of waiting a year, and I like the idea of just keeping learning for myself about how it works and what can we adjust and, you know, what seems, you know, what are the options?
you know,
I'm very curious about that.
I think we could just, and then we'd have 12 months history to really figure it out then.
Great.
Great. Further board comments for the town manager or questions? Public comment or questions for the town manager? Zoom folks, in-person folks, members of the press? Don't hear any. How about, other than for the town manager, public comment and participation? I'll lead off. The board has received the resignation and from the position of town health officer, rental housing officer, 911 coordinator from Tom Kilpeck. He says it's been a privilege to serve the town for the last 4 years. No longer has the time available to properly fill the duties of the position. Will assist the transition for the next person and will work through the 30th of July. So that's a change, and we do thank Tom definitely for how he's done that operation, which is several different plates to keep spinning all at the same time. And he's done it well for 4 years. So thank you to Tom Kilpeck for that.
So, since this is the first time, you know, we've heard this and the public has heard this, and we're hoping that we can find somebody else who will fill his position at some point. I wonder if it would be helpful, Dave, if you could just briefly describe what his role is and what his duties are, so that way if somebody were thinking, gosh, maybe I could do that, they would have some idea.
I could, I'd rather like pull the statute out, so it's word for word.
Oh, yeah, I'm
So I actually have someone I'm meeting with tomorrow who currently works for the Department of Health, who's a new Brandon resident, who I'm hoping will be at the next meeting. So we should have maybe a smooth transition with this. And I think it'll work out okay. So Tom, I've got Tom in touch with this person as well. So, you know, they're not scared of what it
That's helpful.
entails. And, you know, if you remember a couple meetings ago, the whole rental thing is kind of going to the state now anyway, so it might not be much for our locals officers at some point here.
And so is it safe to say his job was to oversee the safe level of housing, rental housing?
Well, as part of the rental code, yeah, but those used to all be separate things. So, I mean, the health officer, we know what that, you know, dog bites, you know, we dealt with some stuff out in some mobile home parks, yeah, garbage, things like public health issues, really. So, as defined by the Department of Health, so this person might already know. But I'll keep you guys aware of what's going on with that too.
And is this a stipend position?
Yes. So those 3, Tom, I can't remember what Tom gets, I'd have to look, but yeah, there was a monthly stipend on it.
And are we interested in having other people show interest if they have an interest in this?
We could, I just put a big ad in the paper for all of the other stuff, we can throw an ad in the paper for it.
It seems appropriate. I mean, I love that you have someone perhaps lined up, because that would perhaps be the most smooth. But in the eye of just openness, it
Yeah.
seems great to say, if other people have an interest, now's the time.
Yeah.
Are these all board appointments?
Health officers, well, you guys recommend and then the state actually appoints.
Right.
Rental, probably.
So it's not like a hire?
No,
One's
no,
not-
911 just kind of bounces back where like Lane did it
Lane
forever
did
and
it,
then
yeah.
Tom picked it up, so.
Yeah, I have a feeling it was there.
Okay. Very cool. All right, well, that's great news that you've got a possible candidate, and I was gonna ask whether you had any response to the ad. I realize it's only been a few days
Nothing.
for the other spots, but, you know, there are a number of boards and commissions that we would love to have some Brandon folks step up and volunteer for. Some of them are very minor commitments of time, and others are more regular commitments of amounts of time, so good way to serve your community, and that's how the whole town stays involved and everybody gets to be part of what we're doing together to govern ourselves. Okay, so that's the only thing I had that wasn't on the agenda. How about from the board, anything not on the agenda you wanna bring up? Nope, nope over here. How about from the public? Anything not on the agenda that you would like to bring up? Seeing heads shaking sideways in the room, folks on Zoom? Okay. Item 5 is the fiscal matters. We probably can't take them as a consent agenda because we have to choose, I think, on the paving. So what's the pleasure of the board regarding the paving project bids?
Do you want me to give you a brief description?
Please.
So we Lane, actually, one of the back pages here, we sent the bids out to 4 companies. The only 2 that were there for the bid opening were Wilk and Pike. If you look at, the big thing is the asphalt cost per ton is what you want to look at. And Wilk came in at $88.70 across the board for everything per ton. And, I'm sorry, Pike, I said Pike, right? And then Wilk was 108, 102, so there's quite a bit of difference there. And, I mean, my recommendation would be that we go with Pike for our paving projects.
Could you say those numbers once again with the company name for Charlene's benefit, because I just want to make sure.
She'll have it.
She'll have the packet too.
Okay.
But, so Pike came in at $88.70 per ton, and Wilkes was 108 with no wrap, and $102.46 with 15% wrap, so.
And we've done paving using the reclaimed asphalt before, and
It's fine.
holds up well. Okay.
They were both reclaimed, right? Wilkes and
Yeah,
Pike?
Wilkes, yeah, Pike
Pike
is 15%, they didn't even do the no wrap, so.
Pike only gave a
Oh, okay.
reclaimed.
Yeah.
What's the pleasure of the board? This is for Pearl Street, Kennedy Road, Prospect Street, Paintworks Road, and Town Farm Road, portions of those. There was no distances in the little parentheses. thing.
Well, Kennedy's
But-
all of it. Pearl's, well, it's up by, before Corona where all those patches are.
Oh, okay.
Prospect, I can't remember which section we're doing on that one now. And Paintworks is the whole thing. Town Farm is the, we talked about doing starting to do like 3/10 of a mile in-house, so it'd be that 3/10. And, we'll see what's left and we might be able to do
Is
some
it
other
the
things.
southernmost 3/10?
Yes,
Yes.
it's on the golf course.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for allowing that clarification.
I'll make a motion to use Pike.
Motion to use Pike,
I'll second that.
and a second. Any further discussion from the board? Any public comment or discussion about, this would be going with the apparent low bidder, $88.70, Pike Industries for these paving projects? If not, all in favor of awarding the bid to Pike, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no, it's unanimous.
So,
Yes.
I don't know if you guys noticed, Arnold District wasn't on there this year because we're not gonna have enough time if we do Town Farm, because we got the paving grant, it actually just came yesterday, the signed one. So it's good for 2 years, so we'll do Arnold District in the spring, because the guys wanna do ditching and culverts and everything on that as well, and they won't have time to, we have to do it, that's what's causing the road to fail, so. So that'll be, you know, grant funded next year.
Okay, next construction season, great. What's the pleasure of the board on, there's a last year's warrant and a present, and a current year warrant.
Make a motion to approve both.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Mr. Coolidge, a second by Mr. Wyman to approve both warrants. They total less than $121,000. Any questions on any of the bills? If not, all in favor of approval of the warrants as presented, say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. So at this time, there's 2 executive sessions remaining. Are there any announcements to be made? Any suggestions for the good of the community? This is the first July meeting, yeah. Nothing going on. Again, congrats to the chamber on their auction. Chief, thank you for being here tonight. So the board's going to recess at 7:27.